declaring bankruptcy, carrying massive debt, knowing judges, rehab. These are all things that rich people do while maintaining the benefit of the doubt. Taste is how class separates itself from within, and resources define the classes. People can do the exact same things, but they read differently depending on who's doing them. Old money figured out how to distinguish itself from new money and other classes generations ago. New money is still learning the nuances between sophistication and being gauche. But without the support of substantial wealth, your behavior will be seen as tacky. Having lots of kids and taking money from the government, these things read as heritage from the affluent, but they're considered trash for everybody else because none of this is about what people do. It's about the people doing it. The old money, new money debate was always a decoy. It keeps you from noticing the thing that turns identical behaviors into proof of virtue or of vice. I'm going to show you some behaviors, and then I want you to tell me in the comments how they're different. Apart from the size of their trust fund, tell me what makes one good and the other bad. I don't think you'll be able to because things like wealth matter when you say something like,
Do you know who my father is?
let's start with names, specifically unusual names. Growing up, I distinctly remember the names Dweezil and Moon Unit. These people are in their 50s now with those names. Luckily, they had a famous dad and didn't have to seek out conventional careers. My name's Keena. It's Irish. It's pronounced exactly how it's spelled, but I still get asked how my parents came up with my name. And when I say I was named after someone from Ireland, the reply I usually get is, oh, not, oh, that's interesting, not, oh, wow, that's cool, not, I didn't know your name was Iris, just the end of conversation. When I was little, I didn't understand what that "oh" meant. If the question was really about my name, then the name being Iris should lead to more discussion, right? That's because the real question being asked was hidden underneath. It asked why my parents picked a strange name instead of something more serious. And it happens no matter what your background is if you don't have the backing of a trust. Without a trust fund, I couldn't imagine being named after a fruit or a cardinal sign or whatever this is. Imagine having an impossible to fail business and filing for bankruptcy 4 times. In certain circles, that's called smart. In those spaces, you can use the laws to your advantage. Now, I want you to imagine filing for bankruptcy yourself. Was it the last resort? What's your view on going bankrupt? Would it be a personal failure? How do the people around you view your bankruptcy? Would they look down on you? I also want you to think about how hard it is for a lot of people to get by right now, because they overspent or they just mismanaged their money or they stopped working just because they picked a job that doesn't exist anymore. They could have avoided this by living within their means, right? Why would they allow a black mark on their credit that can last 7 years or more? I mean, what if they want to buy a house, even though they can barely afford to pay their power bill? But bankruptcy is a legal tool that helps you come back stronger. It's strategic, it's leverage, just like government subsidies and tax credits and debt strategies and getting money from investors or finding the best accountant to optimize taxes. These are things to discuss over drinks at the country club in the middle of the day because day drinking is when networks are built, unless you're in the wrong tax bracket. Then you should be at work and you should only have one job because if you don't have a job, you're lazy. And if you have more than one job, you didn't work hard enough to have a proper career. My mother worked 3 jobs. She was a registered nurse who worked at 2 hospitals and a home health agency. She did that so that she could buy a house for us and send me to private school. Could you imagine that she let other people take care of me while she worked? Meanwhile, little Thornton the fourth is under the care of nannies and au pairs and goes to boarding school so mom can take a vacation to take care of her year-round tan, and dad can take care of one of his mistresses. A French sociologist named Pierre Bourdieu wrote about this in the 70s. He argued that taste is trained by class and it's used to sort people. He said that money is a kind of wealth, but there's also cultural capital. It's having the right degree or accent, displaying the right manners, having the right name. These are things that the wealthy protect because money can be lost. And that's why there's a distinction with old money and nouveau riche. These are things that get passed down, they become instinct, and everyone is graded against them. I can't prove if my name has cost me anything, but thanks to the internet, I've seen a lot of low class behavior from people who are considered high class. Thank you, Ground News, for partnering with me on this video. It's hard to know what information to trust, and that's why I use Ground News. Ground News is an app and a website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if they have a political bias, how reliable their reporting is, and who owns them. And you can see who funds each publication, compare coverage, and think critically about the information you consume. You can also access diverse perspectives, get news from sources you otherwise would have missed. I use Ground News to help me find some of the resources for this video. They're all linked in the video description. By comparing headlines and paying attention to the bias of the media outlet, it helps me to see things more clearly. Subscribe to Ground News through my link in the video description to get 40% off of the Vantage subscription. That's the one that I use to get unlimited access to every feature. Thank you to everyone who has bought me a coffee or shared a super chat. Subscribe if you haven't, and make sure to select all notifications so you know when I post. There's a video over here that you should watch. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's a good one. Okay, bye.